30 years ago, we never would have imagined being here talking about this. We went from childhood games to energetic alignment. By doing the work, we created better versions of ourselves. Join us, two women sharing their intimate journal entries on their path to consciousness. Get in here, get in here, get in here. If you like our content and you want to hear more, subscribe, like, and comment below. Frequency. 5 years ago, I started researching everything I could find on sound and found a fascinating intersection between sound and the science of spirituality and healing. Let's start with the science. Sound at its core is vibration. Everything in the universe vibrates at a specific frequency, from the atoms in our body to the stars in the sky. And these vibrations, especially at certain frequencies, can profoundly affect us. I started with binaural beats, tried tuning forks and singing bowls, and experienced one-on-one licensed sound baths. Whether through ancient traditions or modern science, the use of sound frequencies can help us achieve deeper states of relaxation, emotional release, DNA repair, chakra alignment, and spiritual connection.
In the beginning of my journey, I used frequency music to slow down the fast-paced beating of my heart's chorus. I was in the middle of dealing with loss in my life that I wasn't truly prepared for, and I had to deal with it rather quickly as to not let my kids see me fall apart. So each morning, I started my day by listening to solfeggio frequencies in the background for most of my workday. Then it spilled into my nighttime playlist, and before I knew it, I had selected the overnight deep sleep full body restore 8-hour live stream. I was in love with it, but better yet, my body loved it. And it was the first step in my journey to healing, alignment. Get in here, get in here, get in here. Welcome back, season 2, episode 5. And we are talking about frequency today, you guys. And this is such an exciting topic to share, only because everything is motion, everything is movement, everything is sound, it's frequency, it's vibration. So we are going to try to give y'all the experience that we get when we, think about vibrations and frequency and everything else. So, Zakkiya, let's kind of start off with you. You kind of took it back into like a almost like a teaching mode. You said that there was the science of it and then there was the spirituality of it. So let's get the science out the way because that's the teaching mode.
Right.
Tell everyone why that's important.
Well, because if we know that everything is energy, everything vibrates from the thoughts we think, the words that we speak, the emotions that we feel. It is all motion. And even innate objects still have a vibrational frequency. And we know that that's how you can manifest through the vibrational frequency. You have to align with that, what you want. So if you want that luxurious life, if you want that new car, you want that new job, you have to align with that vibration. So that's why I think sound and frequency is so important because it is the genetic makeup of our earth, right? It is the earth also has a frequency and is also permitting or releasing that energy into the world. So if everything that we do, everything that we think, everything that we say, everything that we feel is giving off a vibrational frequency, the match of that has to find you, right? So that's why, again, sound is so important because we know that sound, the way we hear things, it vibrates into our ear, and the way that there's something like scientifically about the way sound goes into our ear that our brain and our ear kind of change it around to make it make sense in our head.
Mm-hmm.
But that then when we speak something out, that's a different vibration. And it reminds me of, I remember I put you on to HemiSync.
Yes.
Which is hemisphere synchronization, and this idea that your left and right brain, that you can synchronize them so that you can have more consciousness or spiritual awakening or whatever. And I got this and I learned about this after the CIA declassified it's called the gateway process. And it was this idea of being able to synchronize your brain so that you could level up essentially.
Yeah.
And so again, that's why I think frequency is so important because it's in our earth. It is of our earth. And then how do we now utilize those frequencies for our benefit?
Right. And then the other part was the spirituality about it. And for me, that also kind of means healing too, and the body and how it responds to the body. And so that's the fun part of it. So I want to
Mhm.
stick with that for a little bit because in my journal entry, I had mentioned, you know, in the beginning of my journey to consciousness, journey to healing, I started listening to solfeggio music. And the reason I did it was because, like, there's no words. Now, I love music. I grew up to music and, everything hip hop. I'm a hip hop head, right?
Mhm.
But all that music that comes with the words, you kind of take on that energy of the words because words are so much more powerful as well, right? And
Spell
so
work. Mhm.
exactly, it's spell work. So you get kind of caught up in the story that they're telling through their music rather than the sounds behind it. And sometimes some of those sounds, like those 808 sounds and, those heavy metal sounds, that's not good for you anyway. But I love
Well,
solfeggio music.
unfortunately, a lot of hip hop,
Yeah.
the lyrics that we're singing, that we're repeating, the spell
Well,
work that
that
we
part.
it's unfortunate because we both are hip hop heads. We both were
Yeah.
raised on hip hop, and then
Right.
so as I became more aware of it, I had to change the music I listened to. Like, I could not listen to the music that I grew up in loving, and I have, like, this coming of age playlist, and I tried to go back and listen to it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is all trash." I mean, it's enough to shake your ass to, but it's trash, you
I
guys,
mean,
especially when you're repeating it. And when you get those
yeah.
wormholes where you get those songs that get stuck in your head, be careful about the songs that get stuck in your head that are playing on a loop because
Yep.
again, it is a frequency and a vibration that you're releasing. But sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. No, that was a good point because that just kind of ties into the fact that because solfeggio music doesn't have lyrics, it just has sound. It was something so soothing to
Mhm.
me, um, that just helped me on this journey. And so, I love silence. I grew up in a family of 6 kids, 2 parents, right? So it was a lot of us. And there was always noise in the house, always. Like my father loved jazz music. So he had music blasting in the house every single night. And when I say every, I mean every, y'all. Somebody's always in the kitchen cooking up something so you can hear pots. It was just always noise. So as I got older, silence, just being able to just hear nothing was so great for me. And so when I started listening to solfeggio music, I was like, "Ooh, this is the cure that my soul needs." Like I just needed it. And then, I started realizing that it has healing powers throughout the body, right? And so when I told y'all I
Absolutely.
I be on these 8-hour live streams all throughout the night. And then when I would wake up, I could like actually feel my body like it was achy sometimes because it does get in there and just like I actually don't know what it does, but I know I was aching in the morning and I was like, "Oh, so y'all really are working." It
Well,
actually
it
has
can
some
change
kind of
you
power.
on a cellular level. And of course, because I
Mm,
have to always understand the science behind
you
it. And I was
do.
like I was looking for like evidence of proof
Yeah,
that solfeggio frequencies especially do work. And there are evidence, there are studies, there are research papers that suggest everything that you're saying. And so like there's different hertz, obviously, solfeggio
right.
frequencies. It's like a set of 6 different tones used in sacred music. Believe it or not, it's funny because they can stem back to Gregorian chants. So like 396 hertz is to help you release guilt and fear. 417 hertz facilitates change and undoing of situations. 528 hertz is considered like the love frequency, and it can help promote DNA repair and miracles, which might be what you had
That's the
felt.
one I'm on, y'all. I love me some 528.
639 promotes harmonious relationships. So this is something that I would have played in my home, like when I was still with my ex-husband, when I needed the vibration in the home to change because we were at it. 639 hertz.
Hmm.
741 hertz aids in problem solving. And I remember if I was like work or there's something that I was trying to figure out or get through a deck or whatever the case was, I would play music like that. Or 852 hertz awakens intuition and spiritual alignment. So again, you guys,
Yeah.
wherever you get your music from, you can go on and get solfeggio frequencies and start listening to them. I suggest, I mean, you can, solfeggio frequencies does not have to be on earbuds, right?
Mm-mm. No, it
But
doesn't.
binaural beats need to be on
Yes.
headphones because there is a different tone or beat playing in each ear. And that's how you, again, to do the brain synchronization, you have to have these two different beats. So again, solfeggio frequencies, you can just play over your loudspeaker. If it's binaural beats, you need to be using headphones to do it.
Right, right. No, I agree. When I tell you I am stuck on 528 because I think you said it's the love
The love
one.
frequency.
And I
Mhm.
do believe like most of the hertz, they kind of align with the chakras. And so
Yeah.
528 is for the heart. And I'm stuck there because I just feel like my heart needs to open. I need
Mm.
to, go through that type of repair. So you find the one that kind of resonates with your body, with your soul. 963 is like the highest one. It's supposed to be like Christ consciousness and your crown chakra and everything like that. So I do like that one. And I listen to it sometimes and I just close my eyes and I envision myself as a star in the galaxy. And
Mm.
I am just like freely flying. It is just so soothing. I also feel, the healing part of it is so great for us because we have a lot of fear out here, right? Like we have a lot of anxiety. We have a lot, it's just so much stuff that is going on. And just to be able to take a step back and not, like I said, not hear those lyrics and have all of
Yeah.
that up on you. Um, but and also we had what's that movie? It just came out with Julia Roberts and the real good looking black guy. What's his
Oh,
name?
what is the name of the movie?
I don't know, but remember in that movie
Now,
they
when we can't say remember in the movie and not give people the movie,
oh,
is something about this is how it ends or this is how the isn't that it? Girl, I gotta look it up because now
it'll come to us. It'll
no, I gotta look because we can't reference a movie and then tell people leave the world behind.
leave the world behind. Okay. Okay. So if y'all remember that movie, Leave the World Behind with Julia Roberts, and one of the ways they kind of infiltrated us was through this loud pulsating sound, right? And so you have to understand like they also will try to use sound as a weapon against us, but if we know how to harness that, if we know those different hurts and different sounds for the different chakras of our body and all that, they don't stand a chance against us, y'all. Like it's that simple for me at least.
When I watched the Leave the World Behind and because the tone happens twice in that movie and it's like
Hmm.
this long like and it's like a loud tone and I remember the first time I did not like the way it felt in my body so much so I was interested because I wanted to watch the movie because again I start watching movies like documentaries like what is
Yeah,
Hollywood telling us
trying
that
to
they're not
tell
telling
us.
us kind of thing and I did not like the way it feels so much so I started humming as the sound went off. And I even though and I felt that way about them, I ended up still watching it a second time, but no, being prepared for that sound. And same thing, I was like, and waited for the beat to go off. Now, what's so interesting about that, and I didn't know it at the time, but humming is also another healing practice for sound and frequency because it
Yes.
releases like that om, which is supposed to help relax you and center you and take away the anxiety and the stress. So I do think that is interesting, but you're right. Music can be a weapon. And Kanye even talked about this before. Like Kanye, people, you could say what you want about Kanye, but there was a lot of truth in the things that he was speaking. He was saying you got to be careful with the beats because, again, originally I think all music was on one frequency, and then they decided, nope, we're not going to change it. We're going to put it on this frequency, which is
Yeah.
actually off from our bodies, right? So, like, when you think about, again, when I say you have to be so cognizant of the things that you expose yourself, and that is music. I was watching this young woman on TikTok, and she did an experiment where she used to just listen to the same music over and over and over for like a month. And so she talked about how doing that actually changed who she was
Hmm.
and how she responded to things and how she thought about things. So you have to think about it. If you're listening to heavy metal and like gangster rap or like hip hop, or just saying like where there's nothing powerful about it, we're talking about drugs, we're talking about violence, we're talking calling women out of their names and all of these
Right.
things, you are vibrating on that level. And even the fact that like demon time became something that we said in songs, I think is really like scary,
Sure.
and it's really tragic. And so you just guys, you got to be so careful with what you're exposing yourself to, because you don't even realize that it is affecting you even at a cellular and a DNA level.
Right. Right. I love the fact that you brought up humming because, you know, when I was a child, I used to hum while I ate my food, like on a regular basis. I know I got on everybody's nerves, my sisters, my parents, everybody was like, stop. But I used to do it regularly. And of course, I didn't understand why I was doing it as a child. And then, of course, I stopped because I was getting criticized and pinched probably by my sisters.
Or kicked under the table. Yeah.
Right.
My girl be quiet.
But now, I go back and I'm like, y'all, I was tapping in. Like, y'all couldn't let me be.
You're right though, because I looked it up, because there are actual studies and evidence to prove. There was one study published in the Journal of Music Therapy that found that humming or chanting could have a calming effect on people, lowering their physiological stress markers like heart rate and blood pressure. So,
I
I mean,
told y'all.
we're not. It also helps improve breathing and oxygen flow, heart health, mood and mental health, and so there's pain reduction. There's so many benefits to it. So, like, it's something that I don't think that we do. But if I don't know if you ever heard, there is an ancient practice in Native Americans
Mhm.
that it's like this idea where they get very close to each other, and they're like, it's called like, I forgot what it's called, but it's really coming from the throat, but it's like this humming, but that it was outlawed at one point and that they were not
Mm.
allowed to practice it. And I was like, probably because they were raising the vibration of their tribe by doing this and all the people around them. The same idea of why they took all of the bells out of America. If you think about, there used
Oh,
to be like
yeah.
everybody used to have bell towers and they don't ring them anymore. And I wonder why. But like I was reading, and if you again, because I'm always trying to read something to make it make sense in my like practical mind,
Sure.
and was saying that the bells are rung around the world at a certain time, so to help everybody stay on the right vibrational frequency. And then all of a sudden there are no bells, there are
Right.
no ringing, like like, well, what happened, why not, and who or what would not want us to be on a vibrational frequency of peace, calm, and love.
Yes. So remember last week when we talked about aliens and I was asking everybody, I said, what is our superpower?
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
language, like, humming could be a superpower. And so when you were just giving that example of the Native Americans, they were tapped in. First of all, y'all already know Native Americans was tapped in to the earth, to the frequency, to everything. And so that was probably their superpower and sort of a sense. And to us, like, we need to start figuring out what it is about the body, because that's what it is. It's our bodies that, our brains, our bodies, the things that we can do that no other species can do, right? And most of the time, and I told y'all last week, it's language for the most part. And so do we need to start a humming class or something? Because I think,
Humming is
you know
free.
what I mean?
Anybody, you can do it anywhere, anytime, and you need nothing from it,
So
but it is a way
free.
to help, like, calm yourself and
Yeah.
calm those around you. You said something about Native Americans, and this I'm totally taking us off subject, but it came to me and I have to say it. When we think
Yeah.
of Native Americans, we think of Native Indian Americans, but I also firmly believe that there are Native Africans to this country or Native Black Americans that are also part of this. So, like,
Mm.
I know that we think that Africans only came from Africa, but I do believe that there are Aboriginal Black people from America who also were tapped in, who knew how to live off the land. I
Yeah.
think they have separated us so far from who we actually are and in that God consciousness, like we were talking. So, again, that's another time for another episode. It laid it on my heart when you said it that I had to
Yeah.
say something about it. So,
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I totally agree. You said that to me before, and I was like, okay, I believe
okay.
you.
I
Absolutely.
love that you always take everything for face value.
I
Because you know what?
believe you.
Whatever you believe to be true is true in
It
your life.
is.
And
That's
and it's
it.
as simple as that. Like,
Right. And so I was going to say something about um
humming.
yes. So a lot of the time when you're, doing the humming and doing these other things like listening to solfeggio music to kind of repair the body, like just think of it, as an everyday thing, just the same way you get up in the morning and turn on the music and listen to the radio and you
Or
know
the news. Hmm.
the same way you do those things, just shift a little bit and give yourself time to heal, reprocess, and get ready for the day ahead. And most of the time, that is through um, just the stillness of everything, the quiet. And I can't stress it enough. I think all of these, practices that we've talked about today are some of the best things for, and I would say I was about to say us, meaning black people, but it's for everyone. It really is. But
Yeah,
black people tap in.
right. I
If
think
we go
No, I
ahead.
think you're right, especially with Black people, because I think that we are the furthest away from who we really are. And
So
I think it's also
sad
intentional that we are the
for
furthest
sure.
away from who we actually are and who we should know us to be. Again, we can go on a whole nother episode about that. But
We
more than
could.
anything, we hope that you take away from this is the idea of that like sound is so much more important than just music to shake your butt to or something to just have in the background, especially if it's background music. So when typically you might listen to like easy listening or something, try solfeggio frequencies instead, or try high vibrational music. I fell in love with the chant Shreem Brzee, which is supposed to help bring abundance into your life. So I used to say
Hmm.
Shreem Brzee. So I used to do that.
Yeah.
Look it up, guys. There are so many other ways that you can be facilitating your own healing because
Yeah.
healing is never over. I don't care how healed you are, there's still something else that probably needs to be healed and that you need to address.
And
So,
also like instruments, right? Just straight instruments. I remember when I did my ancestral reading, she told me, she was telling me things that I should buy for like my altar and just to have around me. And she was like, I'm seeing drums.
mm,
You need to get a drum and just, and so, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I don't really deal with drums on a regular basis. So I don't know if you're picking up on me. But I'm sure she was because,
well, not you, but your ancestors. Yeah.
right. And so, to tap in to the ancestrals, um, sometimes it's important that we kind of just listen to, you know, or find an instrument that, kind of
Resonate.
resonates with who you are.
She told you drums. She told me the tambourine. She was like, the tambourine is very important
Mm.
for one of your ancestors. It shows up for you. And this woman and I don't know her name. I have a description of her, but it has been told by more than one person, like the tambourine is very important for me. So I have a tambourine and like, so like when I had that, I talked about it last week where I had that like scary dream. That morning when I woke up, I went through my house and it was shaking the tambourine was beating the tambourine through the house because I knew that that was calling in my ancestors to help change
Right.
the vibration of what was happening in the house.
Many people they just try to do like the sage and they do all the incense and things. Sometimes y'all need sound to push those
To
energies
help move.
out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's actually a great advice. Listen, I want to talk about the quote. You actually found and sourced this quote this week, so I'm going to pull it
Ooh,
up so we can talk about it a little bit and tell me.
I like this one. It's accredited to Albert Einstein, um, but no like full proof when I was finding it. But it said future medicine is the medicine of frequencies. And again, going back to healing, right? You can heal your whole body with sound, with frequencies. And so when I saw that, I was like, well, that sums up, my journey.
Yeah, well, you know what, too? Back in, I think it was like the early 30s, the hospitals would use linen fabrics on all of the patients' beds,
Mhm,
which we know is a frequency that vibrates higher. And they would have sun decks in all hospitals so that the patients could be outside in the sun
mhm.
because there is healing frequency in the sun, which we kind of talked about last week when I had my experience with the sun. But then going down to even thinking about frequencies of fabrics and the things that which I always stress and talk about, but that it was medicine and
Yeah.
that it is medicine. And that when I don't feel well, I'll put on some music or that I will hum and I'll do that for my children. And I think, or I'll start having like the singing bowls when my daughter is stressed. I have a set of 3 singing bowls, like the larger ones that are kind of like that I had in the sound bath. I will have her lay down on the floor and I'll put the singing bowls around her and I will literally play them so much to the point that she almost falls asleep. And then when she gets better, she's like, "Oh, mom, I feel so much better." Because at a
Mm,
vibrational level, they have changed her genetic makeup. And like where she was anxious, she now was calm. And so much so now that she asked me, like, "Hey, can we do a sound bath?"
yeah.
So there's so much power in sound. We hope that you take this and try to find ways to apply it in your own life because I do think that you will find benefits. It is proven in plenty of studies. Trust me, I've looked them all up. That sound is incredibly powerful. And we hope that the sound of our voices have been therapeutic and given you some type of inspiration on how you can use it to improve your own life.
Yep. I love it. I don't look anything up, but y'all, when I say it's happening to me, it's happening.
Well, and sometimes you don't have to look it up because you just know what you know, kind of
And
thing.
that's
And
how
that's
I
fine.
live. I know
My
what I know what I
analytical
know.
brain is like, okay, I know this, but now let's prove it. So,
Yeah.
anyway, thank you for tuning in for another episode. We will see you next week, y'all. Get in here. Peace.
Bye.
Until next time, get in here, get in here, get in here.